The Worthless Land. Part 1. The Dinner. The fork scraped against ceramic, a sound that made Camila's teeth ache. She kept her eyes on her plate, chicken breast, steamed broccoli, a small portion of rice, and tried to ignore the weight of her mother's stare. "So Camila," her mother's voice cut through the dinner table silence like a knife through butter. "Still at that little bookstore?" Little. The word landed with precision. Her mother knew exactly what she was doing. "Yes, Mama, I'm the assistant manager now." Assistant manager. Her father didn't look up from his wine. At 32. Camila's sister, Sophia, shifted in her seat. For a moment, she thought she might say something kind, something deflecting. But Sophia just reached for the breadbasket, her engagement ring catching the light from the chandelier above. "It's honest work," Camila said quietly. Her mother laughed. Not a real laugh, the kind of laugh that was meant to cut. "Honest work. Yes, I suppose selling books to college students is honest work. I also manage inventory, handle the social media, organize author events. Your sister closed a deal yesterday. Commercial property downtown, $6 million. Sophia's face flushed. "Papa, please." "What? I'm proud. Is it wrong to be proud?" He finally looked at Camila, and she wished he hadn't. His eyes held something worse than anger. Disappointment. "Sophia works hard. She went to business school like we asked. She made something of herself." "I went to college too," Camila said, hating how small her voice sounded. "Yes, English literature." Her mother made it sound like a disease. "So you could read poetry and work retail?" The chicken was dry in Camila's mouth. She forced herself to swallow. "I'm writing," she said. "I've been working on a novel." The silence that followed was deafening. Then her father laughed. Actually laughed. "A novel, of course. And how much does that pay?" "It's not about the money." "Everything is about money, mija. That's what you've never understood. You float through life with your head in the clouds, thinking the world owes you something because you're sensitive, because you have feelings." He poured himself more wine. "The world doesn't care about your feelings." Camila's hands were shaking. She clasped them in her lap. "I'm not asking the world for anything. I'm just trying to live my life." "On whose dime?" her mother asked. "You're still in that apartment in the bad part of town. You drive a car that's 15 years old. You shop at thrift stores. I pay my own rent. I pay my own bills." "Barely," her father muttered. Sophia finally spoke. "Can we just have a nice dinner, please?" But their mother was on a roll now. Camila could see it in her eyes, that gleam that appeared when she'd found a weak spot and intended to press until it broke. "You know what I told Maria Gonzalez at church last week when she asked about my daughters?" Her mother took a sip of water, letting the moment stretch. "I told her Sophia is in real estate, very successful, engaged to a lawyer. And when she asked about you, I said you were still figuring things out." "That's generous," Camila said quietly. "Generous?" Her mother's voice rose. "I was being kind. What should I have said? That you're a 32-year-old cashier with a useless degree, living paycheck to paycheck, with no husband, no prospects, no ambition?" The words hit like bullets, each one finding its mark. "Mama," Sophia said weakly, "that's not fair." "Fair?" Her mother turned on Sophia. "You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that we paid for both of you to go to college, that we gave you both the same opportunities? And look at the results. Sophia, successful, beautiful, about to get married, and Camila," she waved her hand dismissively, "a disappointment." There it was. The word Camila had heard 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways, but never quite so baldly stated. A disappointment. "I think I should go," Camila said, standing. "Sit down," her father commanded. "We're not finished." "I am." "Sit down." Something in his voice made her obey, some old childhood reflex she couldn't quite override. She sat. Her father leaned back in his chair, studying her. Your mother and I have been talking. We've decided to help Sophia and Marcus with a down payment on a house. Camila felt something twist in her stomach. That's great. Congratulations, Sophia. Sophia wouldn't meet her eyes. $100,000, her father continued. It's time she had a real home, a place to build a family. $100,000. The number echoed in Camilla's head. $100,000. Wow, Camilla managed. That's incredibly generous. It is, her mother agreed, because we're generous parents, despite what you might think. The implication hung in the air like smoke. I've never said you weren't generous, Camilla said carefully. No, but you think it. We can see it in your face, the way you look at your sister. Jealous, bitter. I'm not jealous of Sophia. Really? Her mother's eyebrows rose, because it seems to me like you've spent your whole life resenting her success. That's not true, isn't it? You've always been the difficult one, the sensitive one, crying about every little thing, never satisfied. We tried with you, Camilla. God knows we tried, but you pushed us away. You always pushed us away. Camilla felt tears burning behind her eyes. She refused to let them fall. Not here, not now. I pushed you away? She repeated slowly. That's what you remember? What else would you call it? Her father said. Choosing that degree, refusing to go to graduate school, working at that bookstore instead of getting a real career, every choice you've made has been a rejection of everything we wanted for you. Maybe I didn't want what you wanted for me. Exactly. Her mother pointed at her, triumphant. You hear that? She admits it. She chose this life, this mediocre, purposeless life. The room was spinning. Camilla gripped the edge of the table. I have a purpose, she whispered. Do you? Her father challenged. Then tell us, what is it? What great contribution are you making to the world? She opened her mouth, closed it. What could she say? That she made people feel less alone when they came into the bookstore looking for something they couldn't name? That she'd held the hands of teenagers crying over heartbreak, recommended books that changed lives, created a space where people felt safe? It sounded stupid even in her own head. That's what I thought, her father said. You have nothing. You are nothing. Just a disappointment. Sophia stood abruptly. I can't listen to this anymore. Then leave, their mother snapped. But you, Camila, you're going to sit here and hear this, because someone needs to tell you the truth. You're 32 years old with nothing to show for your life. No career, no husband, no children, no future. You work at a bookstore and write stories no one will ever read. And you know what the saddest part is? Camilla didn't answer. You don't even care. You're so wrapped up in your fantasy world, your dreams, your feelings, that you can't see reality. You're going to wake up one day, at 50, alone, poor, and full of regrets. And you'll have no one to blame but yourself. The tears came then. Camilla couldn't stop them. They spilled down her cheeks, hot and shameful. Don't cry, her father said coldly. You always cry. Tears don't solve anything. I'm leaving, Camilla said, standing again. This time, she didn't sit back down. Good, her mother said. Run away. That's what you do. Run away from difficult conversations, from responsibility, from reality. Camilla grabbed her purse. Sophia followed her to the door. Cammy, wait. Don't. Camilla's voice was ice. Enjoy your $100,000. It's not like that. I didn't ask for this. But you'll take it. Sophia's silence was answer enough. Camilla drove home through tears, the city lights blurring into watercolor smears. She lived in a one-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood her parents pretended didn't exist. The building was old, the elevator broken more often than not, but it was hers. She paid for it. Every month. On time. Inside, she locked the door and slid down to the floor, back against the wood. Disappointment. The word echoed in the emptiness. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. I'm sorry, you know how they are. Camila deleted it without responding. She sat there in the dark, in the apartment her parents thought was shameful, and felt something crack open inside her chest. Not her heart breaking. That had happened years ago. Something different. Something that had been locked away for so long she'd forgotten it was there. Anger. Pure, white-hot, clarifying anger. Part 2. The pattern. The anger didn't fade. It settled into Camila's bones like calcium, making her stronger, harder. She went to work the next day and the day after that, but something had shifted. She caught herself in the mirror, same dark hair pulled into a ponytail, same tired eyes, same discount store clothes, and thought, this is the disappointment they see. But when she looked deeper, past the surface, she saw something else. Someone who'd survived 32 years of being told she wasn't enough. Someone who'd built a life despite being given nothing but criticism. Someone who was done apologizing. You okay? Her coworker Marcus asked. Not Sophia's Marcus. Different Marcus, 23, art school dropout, full sleeve of tattoos. Yeah, Camila said. Why? You just seem different. Intense. I'm fine. She wasn't fine. She was awake, maybe for the first time in years. That night, she opened her laptop and looked at her novel. 60,000 words about a woman who couldn't escape her family's shadow. She read through it, saw herself in every line, every character, every desperate plea for validation. She deleted it. All of it. Then she opened a new document and wrote, Chapter 1. The woman who stopped asking permission. The words poured out. Different words. Harder words. True words. Sophia called 3 times. Camila didn't answer. Then Sophia showed up at the bookstore. You're avoiding me, Sophia said. I'm working. Can we talk, please? Camila looked at her sister. Beautiful, successful, engaged Sophia with her designer purse and her $6 million deals. Once, they'd been close. Once, Camila would have died for her. What do you want me to say? Camila asked. Congratulations on your house money? I didn't ask for it. But you took it. Of course I took it. They offered. What was I supposed to do? Say no? Yes, Camila said simply. You could have said no. You could have said, this isn't fair to my sister. You could have said, either we both get help or neither of us does. But you didn't. You never do. Sophia's face flushed. That's not fair. You can't expect me to turn down $100,000? No, I guess I can't. That would be crazy. Camila went back to shelving books. Is there anything else? Why are you being like this? Like what? Cold, mean. Camila turned, and something in her expression made Sophia step back. I'm being honest, Camila said, maybe for the first time. You want to know what's not fair? I've spent my entire life watching you get everything. The praise, the attention, the money. And I told myself it was okay because you're my sister and I love you and I'm not petty. But you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of being the understanding one, the one who's supposed to just accept that I'm worth less. I don't think you're worth less. Then why didn't you say anything at dinner, when they called me a disappointment, when they listed all my failures? Where were you? Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I did say something. That's not fair, doesn't count. Not when you follow it up by taking their money and their praise and going on with your perfect life. No, from where I'm standing, it looks pretty fucking perfect. Sophia flinched. Camila never swore, never raised her voice, never made scenes. I have to get back to work, Camila said. Camila, please leave. After Sophia left, Marcus appeared beside Camila. Family? Sister. Looks like that went well. Spectacularly. He was quiet for a moment. Then, you know what I learned when I dropped out of art school? The people who love you will understand. And the people who don't understand never really loved you. They loved who they wanted you to be. Camila looked at him. 23 years old and somehow wiser than she'd ever been. That's depressing, she said. It's liberating. 3 weeks later, her father called. We need to talk about Abuela's land. Camila's grandmother had died 2 years ago, leaving behind a small plot of land 2 hours outside the city. Nobody wanted it. Too far, too rural, too worthless. What about it? Camila asked. We're selling it. Sophia and Marcus are looking at houses further out, and this land could be part of their down payment. The land Abuela left to all of us? Yes. Did Sophia agree to this? A pause. Sophia understands the land is worthless to you. You don't need it. She does. There it was again, that pattern. Sophia needs. Sophia gets. Camila needs nothing because she is nothing. What if I don't want to sell? Camila asked. Don't be ridiculous. What would you do with it? That's my business. Camila, her father's voice hardened. Don't make this difficult. The land is worth maybe 50,000. Your sister needs it. You're going to sign it over. Am I? Yes. And if I don't? Then you're being selfish, petty, exactly what we always knew you were. Camila smiled, alone in her apartment. Then I guess I'm selfish. She hung up. Her phone exploded with calls. Her mother, her father, Sophia, text messages, voicemails, all with the same message. How dare you? After everything we've done for you, you ungrateful, spiteful, jealous. She blocked them all. Part 3. The land. Camila drove out to see the land on a Saturday. It took 2 hours through mountains and valleys, the city falling away behind her like a shed skin. The property was at the end of a dirt road, surrounded by oak trees and wildflowers. 5 acres of nothing, her father had called it. But standing there, feeling the sun on her face and the wind in her hair, Camila didn't see worthless. She saw peace, space, possibility. She saw freedom. Her phone had no signal. She was completely, utterly alone. It felt like breathing for the first time. There was an old well on the property and the crumbling foundation of what might have once been a house. Her grandmother had grown up here back when the land was a working farm. That was before she'd moved to the city, married up, and tried to forget where she'd come from. But she'd never sold the land. She'd held on to it until the day she died. Camila sat on the edge of the foundation and cried. Not sad tears, not angry tears. Something else. Release, maybe. Or recognition. Her phone had been off for 2 hours when she drove back into signal range. 57 missed calls, 23 voicemails, hundreds of texts. She didn't read them. Instead, she called a lawyer. Can they force me to sell? Camila asked. The lawyer, a woman named Patricia Chen, looked over the documents. No, the land was left to you, your sister, and your parents in equal shares. Any sale requires unanimous agreement. So I can refuse? Absolutely. You can also buy them out if you want. Make an offer for their shares. Camila had $15,000 in savings, years of careful budgeting, of saying no to everything, of living small. Could I get a loan? She asked. Patricia studied her. Probably not a traditional one. Your income is too low, you have no collateral, but… She hesitated. Why do you want this land? Because it's mine, Camila said. And I'm tired of giving away what's mine. Patricia smiled. There might be another way. You could file a partition action, force a sale, and buy the land at auction. It would take time, cost money, but it's doable. How much time? 6 months, maybe more. And in the meantime? In the meantime, no one can touch it. Her parents filed a lawsuit trying to force the sale. Camila countersued. The family war went nuclear. Sophia showed up at her apartment, 8 months pregnant now. You're really going to do this? Drag us through court? Ruin my wedding, my pregnancy, everything? Camila looked at her sister's belly and felt nothing. I'm not ruining anything. I'm keeping what's mine. It's worthless land, Camila. What's the point? The point is, no one asked me. No one said, Camila, would you be okay selling Abuela's land? No one considered that maybe I wanted it. You all just decided, like you always decide, that what I want doesn't matter. Because you never want anything. You just float through life. No plans, no goals, no plans you approve of, Camila corrected. I have plenty of plans. You just never bothered to ask about them. So this is revenge? You're going to bankrupt us with legal fees over worthless land you don't even want? I do want it. For what? Camila smiled. That's none of your business. Sophia started crying. I can't believe you're being this cruel. To me. To your niece. Nephew, Camila said. You're having a boy. You announced it on Facebook last week. You know what I mean. How am I supposed to explain to my child that his aunt destroyed our family? Tell him his aunt finally learned to say no. Part 4. The building. The lawsuit dragged on. Camila's lawyer bills mounted. She picked up extra shifts at the bookstore, sold everything she didn't need, and moved into an even smaller apartment. Her parents told everyone who would listen about their ungrateful daughter. Camila's aunts and uncles stopped speaking to her. Her cousins sided with Sophia. She was completely, utterly alone, and she'd never been happier. Because something was happening, something she couldn't quite name. Every day she didn't cave, every day she held her ground, she felt stronger, more solid, like she was building herself from the inside out. She stopped writing about women who needed saving. She started writing about women who saved themselves.
Her manager at the bookstore, a woman named Ruth, pulled her aside one day. I don't know what's going on in your life, Ruth said, but you've changed. You're tougher, more present. Is that bad? It's incredible. I'm promoting you to manager, real manager, not assistant. More money, more responsibility, if you want it. Camila wanted it. She took the job. The raise wasn't huge, but it was something. She moved into a better apartment, not in her parents' neighborhood, but not in the bad part of town either. Somewhere in between. The lawsuit settled after 14 months. Camila bought out her family's shares of the land for $40,000, more than the land was worth, but less than they would have gotten in court. Her parents took the money and never spoke to her again. Sophia sent one text. I hope you're happy. Camila was. She owned 5 acres of worthless land 2 hours from the city. She had no idea what to do with it, so she went there. Every weekend, every spare day off. She cleaned up the old foundation. She planted a garden. She fixed the well. She learned to use her hands. One weekend, she brought a tent and stayed overnight. She woke up to deer grazing at the edge of the tree line and birds singing songs she'd never heard in the city. She felt like she'd come home to a place she'd never been.
At the bookstore, a man started coming in every Tuesday. He was older, maybe 50, with gray at his temples and carpenter's hands. He always bought poetry. His name was Daniel. You have good taste, Camila said one day, ringing up his Neruda. My wife loved poetry, he said. She passed away last year. I'm sorry. Don't be. We had 30 good years. Now I read poetry and try to understand what she saw in it. He smiled. Mostly, I just miss her. They started talking. Nothing romantic. He was still grieving, and Camila was still healing. But they talked about books and loss and what it meant to build a life from scratch. I have some land, Camila said one day. I'm thinking about building something there. A house, maybe. Or a cabin. You know how to build? No, but I could learn. He laughed. I like your optimism. I'm a contractor, actually. Retired. If you ever want help? Really? Why not? I have time. And I like people who aren't afraid to build things. Daniel was as good as his word. He came out to the land the next Saturday with blueprints and measuring tape and 30 years of experience. The foundation is salvageable, he said. We'd need to reinforce it, but we could build on top of it. Something small, simple. Like a cabin? Like a home. They worked every weekend. Camila learned to read blueprints, to use power tools, to frame walls. Her hands became rough, her arms strong. She wore work boots and denim, and let her hair grow long. She looked nothing like the woman her parents had called a disappointment. She looked like herself. Ruth from the bookstore started coming out to help. Then Marcus with the tattoos, then Marcus's girlfriend and her brother, and suddenly there was a community, people building something together. They had cookouts while concrete dried, they told stories while paint dried, they laughed at mistakes and celebrated victories. Camila's cabin grew slowly, a room at a time, a window, a door, a roof. Daniel brought his tools and his knowledge. Ruth brought her organizational skills. Marcus brought his art, painting murals on the walls. "What is this place going to be?" Ruth asked one day. Camila looked around at the half-built structure, at the people who'd shown up for her, at the land she'd fought to keep. "Mine," she said. It took 2 years to finish. 2 years of weekends and sweat and sometimes tears. 2 years of learning to trust her own hands, her own judgment, her own worth. When it was done, the cabin was small, just 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room with a stone fireplace. But it was beautiful. Daniel had taught her to use reclaimed wood, so the walls had history in them. Marcus had painted a mural of oak trees and wildflowers in the living room. Ruth had helped her install a wall of bookshelves. It was everything her parents' house wasn't. It was warm and imperfect and real. It was home. Camila moved out of her city apartment. She kept her job at the bookstore. Ruth let her work 4 long days so she'd have 3 at home. But her real life was on the land now. She woke up with the sun, she gardened, she wrote at a desk by the window, looking out at the oak trees. She had never been so poor by her parents' standards. No car payment, no savings, no investment portfolio. She had never been so rich. Part 6. The Return. 3 years after the lawsuit, Sophia called. Camila almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello? Hi." Sophia's voice was small. "It's me." Silence. "I know I don't have the right to call," Sophia continued. "I know you probably hate me, but can we talk? Please?" Camila looked around her cabin, at the life she'd built, at the peace she'd found. "Okay," she said. They met at a coffee shop halfway between the city and Camila's land. Sophia arrived looking exhausted. Expensive clothes, perfect makeup, but something hollow in her eyes. "You look good," Sophia said. Camila did look good, tanned from outdoor work, strong from building, at peace in a way she'd never been. "Thanks." "I'm sorry," Sophia said. "For everything. For taking the money, for not defending you, for letting them treat you like that. I'm sorry." Camila waited. "Marriage is falling apart. Marcus and I barely talk anymore. We have this beautiful house, and I hate it. I hate everything about it. And I keep thinking, you were right." "About what?" "About all of it. The money didn't make me happy. Their approval didn't make me happy. I spent so long trying to be what they wanted that I forgot who I was." Tears slid down Sophia's face. "And the worst part is, I let them destroy you. My sister, the only person who ever really loved me. I did love you. I probably still do, but love isn't enough, Sophia. Not when it's one-sided. I know. And I'm not asking you to forgive me. I wanted you to know I see it now. I see what they did. What I did. And I'm sorry." Camila sat with that, with her sister's tears and apology and pain. "What are you going to do?" Camila asked. "I don't know. Marcus and I are in counseling. I'm in therapy. I'm trying to figure out who I am when I'm not performing for them." "That's good. Is it? Because I don't know who that person is. I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself." "I know the feeling." Sophia looked up. "But you figured it out. How?" Camila thought about the land, the cabin, the years of building something with her own hands. "I stopped asking permission," she said. "I stopped waiting for someone to tell me I was good enough. I just started living." "Can you teach me?" "No. You have to teach yourself. Sophia left her husband 6 months later. She quit real estate and went back to school. Art history, of all things. Their parents were horrified. They're calling me a disappointment now, Sophia told Camila over the phone. Welcome to the club. It's awful. It is. How did you survive it? I built a life they couldn't touch. There was a long pause. Then, can I visit you? At your cabin? Camila thought about it. About whether she wanted her old life touching her new one. Okay, she said. Sophia drove out on a Saturday. She pulled up in her expensive car, wearing city clothes, and looked around at the oak trees and wildflowers like she'd landed on another planet. It's beautiful, she said. Thanks. Camila showed her the cabin, the hand-built furniture, the murals, the garden, the well. You built this? Sophia asked. I had help. But you did it. You actually did it. Yeah. Sophia stood in the middle of the living room, turning slowly. I own a house worth $800,000, and it doesn't feel like home. You built a cabin on worthless land, and it's the most beautiful place I've ever seen. It's not about the money, Camila said. I'm starting to understand that. They sat on the porch as the sun set, drinking tea, not talking much. It wasn't like before. They'd never be like before. Too much had happened. Too much had broken. But it was something. A beginning, maybe. Or an ending that didn't taste bitter. Thank you, Sophia said as she was leaving. For what? For not giving up. On yourself. I think watching you do that gave me permission to try. After Sophia left, Camila sat on her porch and looked at the stars. So many more than you could see in the city. She thought about the woman she'd been 3 years ago, crying on a dinner table, called a disappointment, told she was nothing. That woman felt like a stranger now. Part 7. The Truth. 5 years after the dinner, Camila's novel was published. It wasn't a bestseller. It didn't make her rich. But it existed, this thing she'd made with her words and her pain and her truth. People read it. Some of them wrote to her, saying, "This is my story too." She'd never felt more successful. Her parents didn't congratulate her. They didn't acknowledge the book at all. But that was okay. She didn't need them to. She kept writing, kept managing the bookstore, kept building things on her land, a greenhouse, a workshop, a guest cottage where Daniel sometimes stayed when he needed to get away from his empty house. She built a life that was full. One day, her mother showed up at the bookstore. Camila saw her through the window and felt her stomach drop. But she didn't run. She didn't hide. She waited. Her mother came in, looking older, smaller somehow. She walked up to the counter where Camila stood. "Can I help you?" Professional. Distant. "I wanted to see you." "You're seeing me?" "Camila, what do you want, Mama?" Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "I want to apologize." The words hung in the air. "Okay," Camila said. "Okay, that's all? What else do you want me to say?" "I don't know, something, anything." Her mother wiped at her eyes. "I was wrong, about everything. The things I said to you, the way I treated you, I was wrong." "Yes," Camila said, "you were. Can you forgive me?" Camila thought about it, really thought about it. "I don't know, honestly. Maybe someday, but not today." "What can I do?" "Nothing. There's nothing you can do. This isn't something you can fix with money or apologies. You spent 30 years teaching me I wasn't enough. I spent 5 years learning you were wrong. I'm not going to undo that work just because you're finally ready to admit what you did." Her mother looked broken. "I lost you. You never had me. Not really. You had a daughter-shaped space you wanted me to fill, and when I didn't fit, you tried to carve me down until I did. That's not love, Mama. That's control. I did love you. Maybe in your way, but your way hurt me, and I'm not going to let you hurt me anymore." "So that's it? You're just done with me?" "I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe someday we'll figure out a different relationship. One where you see me as I am instead of as you wanted me to be. But that's going to take time. Years, probably. And it's going to require you to do work. Real work. Therapy, soul-searching, all of it. Not just show up and say you're sorry. Her mother stood there, looking lost. I should go, she said finally. At the door, she turned back. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago, but I'm saying it now. I'm proud of you. Camila felt something crack open in her chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something. Thank you, she said. After her mother left, Ruth came over. You, Ruth asked. Camila said, I think I am. Epilogue. The value. On a Saturday morning, 10 years after the dinner, Camila stood on her porch watching the sun rise over her land. The cabin had grown. Another room added, a garden that fed her year-round, solar panels on the roof, a path through the oak trees where she walked every morning. She was 42 years old. She had gray in her hair and lines around her eyes. She'd never married, never had children, never made a lot of money. By her parents' standards, she was still a disappointment. By her own standards, she was exactly who she wanted to be. Sophia had moved to a small apartment in the city. She was teaching art history at the community college. She came out to visit once a month, and they were building something new. Not the relationship they'd had as children, but something honest. Her parents sent Christmas cards now. Camila didn't always respond. Daniel had remarried, a kind woman named Helen, who also loved poetry. They'd gotten married in Camila's garden, under the oak trees, with 20 people who mattered. It was the first wedding Camila had been to that felt like love instead of performance. Her second novel had done better than the first. Still not a bestseller, but enough that she could cut back her hours at the bookstore. Enough that she could breathe. She was teaching a writing workshop now, once a month, in her cabin. People drove 2 hours to sit in her living room and learn to tell their stories. Most of them were women. Most of them were trying to find their voices after years of being told to be quiet. Camila understood them. One morning, a young woman showed up at the bookstore. 25, maybe. Nervous energy. Expensive clothes that she wore like armor. Are you Camila Martinez? The woman asked. Yes. I'm Emily. I read your book. Both of them, actually. She clutched a worn paperback like a lifeline. I was wondering, could we talk? They sat in the coffee shop next door. Emily ordered a latte she didn't drink. My parents are awful, Emily said finally. They compare me to my brother constantly. Nothing I do is ever good enough. I got into law school, Harvard Law School, and my dad's response was, your brother went to Yale. She laughed, but it sounded like crying. I feel like I'm drowning. Camila saw herself in this young woman's eyes, the desperation, the need for someone to say, you're not crazy. This isn't normal. You deserve better. What do you want to do? Camila asked. What? If you could do anything, not what they want, what do you want? Emily stared at her coffee. I want to be a photographer, but that's stupid. You can't make money as a photographer. My parents would kill me. They'd disown me. They'd be disappointed? Emily looked up. Yeah. Good. Good? Their disappointment isn't your problem. Their expectations aren't your responsibility. You get one life, Emily. One. Are you going to spend it trying to make people happy who will never be satisfied? Or are you going to build something that's yours? But I don't know how. Neither did I. You figure it out. Step by step. Day by day. You make choices that are yours, not theirs. And it's going to be hard. It's going to hurt. They're going to say terrible things. But the alternative is spending your life as a ghost, haunting someone else's idea of who you should be. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I'm so tired. I know. But being tired is better than being dead inside. Trust me, I've been both. They talked for 2 hours. Camila gave her the number for a therapist. She told her about the writing workshops, about the land, about what it looked like to build a life from scratch. When Emily left, she looked different. Not fixed. You don't fix 30 years of damage in one conversation. But she looked like she could see a door she hadn't known was there. That night, Camila sat at her desk and wrote. Not a novel this time. A letter. Dear Mama and Papa. I'm writing this because I need to say it. And I need you to hear it without interrupting or explaining or justifying. For 30 years, you told me I wasn't enough. You compared me to Sophia. You mocked my dreams. You called me a disappointment to my face and behind my back. You tried to take the one thing Abuela left me because you decided I didn't deserve it. You were wrong. I'm not writing this to hurt you or to start another fight. I'm writing it because I need you to understand what you did. You didn't just criticize my choices. You tried to erase who I was. You wanted me to be someone else, someone more like you, someone who valued the things you valued. But I'm not you. I never was. I never will be. I value kindness over money, community over status, creating over consuming. I value a life that feels true, even if it looks small from the outside. You taught me to measure worth in dollars and degrees and square footage. It took me 30 years to unlearn that, to understand that worth is something you build from the inside out. It's in how you treat people, how you show up, how you create space for others to be themselves. I have that now. I built it on that worthless land you wanted to take from me. I built it with my own hands and the help of people who see me for who I am. I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need your money or your praise or your validation. I have something better. I have my own. But here's what I do need from you, if we're ever going to have a real relationship. I need you to see me. Actually see me. Not who you wanted me to be or who you think I should be. Me. Camila. The woman who writes books and manages a bookstore and grows vegetables and teaches people to tell their stories. I need you to be proud of that person. Not because she finally did what you wanted, but because she did what she needed to do to survive. I need you to understand that different isn't wrong. That my life has value even though it doesn't look like yours. That success isn't measured by bank accounts and job titles. And I need you to apologize. Really apologize. Not, I'm sorry you felt hurt. Not, I'm sorry but you have to understand. Just, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I hurt you. I see that now. Can you do that? I honestly don't know. Maybe you can't. Maybe this is who you are and you'll never change. If that's true, I need you to know I'm okay with that. I don't need you to change for me to be happy. I'm already happy. But if you want to be part of my life, really part of it, this is what it's going to take. Honesty, humility, actual change. The door is open. But I'm not standing in it waiting for you anymore. I have a life to live. Love, Camila. She read it 3 times. Then she addressed an envelope, added a stamp, and walked it to the mailbox before she could change her mind. 3 weeks later, her father showed up at her land. She was in the garden, pulling weeds, when she heard the car. She straightened, wiping dirt on her jeans, and watched him get out. He looked old. When had he gotten so old? Hello, mija, he said. Papa. They stood there, 10 feet apart, a decade of silence between them. You have a beautiful place, he said. Thank you. Can we talk? Camila almost said no, almost told him to leave, but something in his face stopped her. They sat on the porch steps. Her father looked around, at the cabin, the garden, the oak trees, and something in his expression cracked. I was wrong, he said. Camila waited. I read your letter. I read it probably 50 times, and I thought about the things I said to you. At that dinner, your whole life. He took a shaky breath. I was wrong, Camila. About everything. Why? Camila asked. Why did you treat me that way? Because I was scared. Of what?
of you living the kind of life I never had the courage to live. He looked at his hands. I grew up poor. Did you know that? No. My father was a farm worker. We had nothing. I watched my mother work herself to death trying to feed us. I swore when I had children, they'd never struggle like that. They'd have money, security, stability. So you pushed us. I pushed you toward what I thought was safe. Sophia did what I wanted. She went to business school. She married well. She checked all the boxes. And you, he stopped. I didn't. You chose dreams over security, art over money. You chose the kind of life that terrified me because I knew how hard it could be. And instead of supporting you, I tried to change you. I tried to make you scared too. You succeeded. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mija. Camila felt tears on her face. She didn't wipe them away. You called me a disappointment, she said. Do you remember? Yes. That word almost destroyed me. I know. Do you? Do you really know what it's like to hear your father say, you're worthless? To have your mother list all the ways you failed? To sit at a dinner table and have your whole family agree that you're not enough? Her father was crying now. No, I don't. And I can't take it back. I can't fix it. All I can do is tell you the truth. You are not a disappointment. You never were. You were brave when I was a coward. You built something real when I was building walls. You became who you are, despite me, not because of me. They sat there, both of them crying, the afternoon sun warm on their faces. Your mother wanted to come, he said after a while. But I told her I needed to do this alone first, to face what I did. Is she ready to face it too? I think so. She's in therapy now. We both are. Trying to understand why we treated you the way we did. Why we thought love came with conditions. Does it? No, I don't think it does. I think real love is seeing someone exactly as they are and celebrating that. Not trying to change it, not trying to fix it, just seeing it. I see you, Camilla said. For the first time, I think I actually see you. Not as this authority figure or this source of pain. Just as a person. A scared person who made mistakes. Can you forgive me? Maybe. Someday. But not today. Her father nodded. That's fair. I need you to understand something. I'm not going to forget what happened. I'm not going to pretend those years didn't hurt. But I'm also not going to let them define me anymore. I built something here. A life, a home, a sense of self. And that's mine. You don't get to touch it. You don't get to approve or disapprove of it. It exists independent of you. I understand. Good. Because if you want to be part of my life, really part of it, you have to accept that. You have to accept me as I am, not as you wish I was. I do. I accept you. I see you. And Mija, his voice broke. I'm proud of you. So proud I can barely breathe with it. You did what I never could. You chose yourself. Camila let herself feel it. The words she'd waited 30 years to hear. They didn't fix everything. They didn't erase the pain. But they mattered. Thank you, she said. Her father started visiting once a month. Just him at first, then her mother too. They were tentative, careful, learning to know their daughter for who she actually was, instead of who they'd imagined. It wasn't perfect. There were still moments when her mother's judgment slipped through, times when her father forgot and gave advice she didn't ask for, but they were trying. And Camila was trying too. To be open to the possibility that people could change, that families could heal. Sophia came too, bringing her new girlfriend, a ceramicist named Maya, who wore overalls and had clay under her fingernails. They were happy in a way Sophia had never been with Marcus. Real happy, messy happy. I like your girlfriend, Camila told Sophia. Me too, Sophia smiled. She doesn't care that I'm not rich anymore, that I'm a disappointment. You're not a disappointment. I am to them. And you know what? It's okay. Being a disappointment means I'm finally living my own life. Welcome to the club, they laughed. These two sisters who'd been strangers, finding their way back to something like friendship. 10 years later, Camila's cabin had become something of a legend. People called it the worthless land with affection. Irony. Writers came to stay in her guest cottage for week-long retreats. She taught workshops year-round now, helping people find their voices. She'd published 4 books, none of them bestsellers, all of them meaningful. She was 52, gray-haired and strong. She grew most of her own food. She had a dog, a rescue mutt named Poet. She had friends who showed up for her. Work that mattered. She had enough. One evening, a young journalist came to interview her for a magazine article about alternative success.
What would you say to people who think you've wasted your life? The journalist asked. You could have been wealthy, famous, powerful. Instead, she gestured around the cabin. Here. Camila smiled. Here is everything. But don't you ever regret it? The choices you made? The family relationships you lost? I didn't lose my family. I found myself. That's not the same thing. But at what cost? Cost? Camila thought about it. I gave up money I never had, status I never wanted, approval that came with strings. What I gained was everything that matters. Peace, purpose, freedom, myself. Some people would say that's selfish. Some people would be wrong. Knowing your worth isn't selfish. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. Choosing a life that's yours isn't selfish. It's necessary. What about your parents? Do you have a relationship with them now? I do. It's different than it was. Smaller, more honest. They're learning to see me. I'm learning to forgive them. It's not perfect, but it's real. And your sister? Sophia is one of my best friends now. She left the life they wanted for her and built one she actually likes. We talk every week. She's teaching art. She's happy. Because of you? Because of her. I just showed her it was possible. The journalist scribbled notes. One last question. If you could go back to that dinner, the one where they called you a disappointment, what would you say to yourself? Camila looked out the window at the land she'd fought to keep, the life she'd built from nothing. I'd say, they're right. The journalist looked up, surprised. I am a disappointment. To anyone who thinks worth is measured in money or status or obedience, I'm a massive disappointment. And that's the highest compliment I could receive. Why? Because it means I succeeded. I chose myself over their expectations. I built a life on my own terms. I learned that the only approval that matters is the kind you give yourself. Being a disappointment to the wrong people means you're doing something right. That night, after the journalist left, Camila sat on her porch with Poet at her feet. The stars were out, the air smelled like jasmine and earth. She thought about the woman she'd been, crying at a dinner table, being torn apart by the people who were supposed to love her, believing she was worthless because they said so. That woman felt like someone from another life. She thought about the lawsuit, the years of struggle, the loneliness of standing alone.